and a half trying to get Ornstein off of me. I just put my back in a corner.
No,
Like,
that
sit
will never be. That will never be like the time where I walked up to the fog gate and was immediately impaled on Ornstein's spear without even entering the fog room.
That will forever be the best one. Gets through gate. Sneaky, what are you doing on this side on a spear?
Alright, well, let's get this started. This is Fanfiction Contempt
we
Theater
not?
9001. Coming to you live from the downtown studio in Las Vegas, Nevada. Nah, I fucking wish.
Shit, we're in Vegas? That means I can get hookers.
Dude, I fucking wish we had a downtown office in Las Vegas, Nevada to do this from. Life
That
goal
would be
right
amazing.
there. That is life goals right there.
That would be the best, because then that means I can just, like, sleep at the office for 3 days while Evo's going on.
I mean, as long as you agree to stream it, go nuts.
I'm not streaming myself sleeping at the office.
Well,
No, not the sleeping at the office. You watching Evo. Like, I want the Max Force shoutcast.
Oh, just get a
I
GoPro, hook it
can't
up to a
laugh.
computer with a satellite connection.
Oh
Yeah.
God, laughing hurts.
Then stop laughing.
Stop being funny.
No.
Ah!
Choke to death and die already.
His
No.
body's working on that.
Anyway, I am SneakyDevil. I am joined by Max and Atin. Not to be confused with Latin and Max.
Or not to confuse Max and Atin, because we sound completely fucking different.
Yeah, one sounds like he's from Chicago, and the other one sounds like he actually had an upbringing.
Really? You want to go there, Mr. Jersey? You really want to go there, Jersey?
Okay.
And today, you people will hear the depths of Sneaky's illness.
Did you hack up another half of your lung?
I did indeed. Yeah. I'm okay. I'll just, I need my alcohol.
Oh, hey, good news, Sneaky. There's someone with a raspy, choking voice for you to read from here.
Oh?
Yeah. A raspy, choking voice asked mincingly.
Lovely.
Oh. Oh, Author, you already ruined it. You made our stream joke worse by trying to make your own shitty joke.
Alright, well,
How
you guys keep
dare they?
I'm gonna go get drunk.
You mean you're going to be drinking some potato juice? Or, sorry, is it wheat juice this time, or corn juice?
It is magical corn juice. I closed the freezer.
I have no idea what he said.
I think he said it's magical corn juice.
Okay. I
So
was
while
leaning...
Max, real quick, while Sneaky's gone, let's take this opportunity to show our You should just listen for that.
I only have like 3 more lungs to go. Alright.
Yeah, would you believe this kid started with 18 when I first met him?
You know, those lungs took a long time to acquire. It's a declining market, unfortunately.
Yeah, anyways, I'm gonna be going a bit quiet so I can eat my dinner now.
Okay. Let's do this. Saying no. Post Order of the Phoenix. Harry is fed up and just won't take it anymore. Dumbledore's worst nightmare. Are you guys all ready for this? Because
No.
I just saw what was going on, and I'm.
Of course, by the
I hope this is
definition.
clever, at least.
It's not. But that's actually this author's note is made me attach this to Fanfiction Contempt Theater instead of reading it myself, because I didn't even get to read the story. This author's note goes on for 1,000 words. Anyway, as per the guidelines of Twitch and YouTube and anywhere else, this
oh my god, that is an author's note. Jesus Christ.
I would like to say, do not contact the people we feature in this podcast, because, unless they, personally say you can, but because that would constitute as harassment, we've been enabling harassment, which is against the rules, and we don't want to get in trouble, we don't want you to get in trouble, and, most importantly, it probably wouldn't work. So, just keep that in mind. But, as always, if you do want to read along, you can find the story linked in the Discord, as always. Yeah, it's gonna be one of those stories. I'm 2 shots in and I haven't even started reading it. Bob and I don't own Harry Potter.
Alright, hold on a minute. To be fair, Sneaky, one of those shots is due to your lungs trying to kill you.
I'm not sure how alcohol is supposed to heal lungs, but I'll accept that. I'm only 1 shot in.
Oh, no. I was talking about dulling the pain of your inevitable death.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm. Alex stared at her keyboard in bewilderment for a moment. Had she been about to write a standard disclaimer, which, on a side note, you don't actually have to write for your story, being that as a user of fanfiction.net, you actually disclaim all ownership to anything you post on fanfiction.net by having a fanfiction.net account. Surprise! Read the fucking terms of service. Her mind shied away from the thought. Taking a deep breath, she cracked her knuckles, wiggled her fingers on the keyboard, chanting Ooga Chaka quietly under her breath, and then began to type. A tap on her shoulder a few moments later caused her to scream and spin around in her chair. "What are you doing?" a raspy, choking voice asked menacingly. "For the love of little green llamas, don't do that, Bob. And what's wrong with your voice?" she asked, scowling at her husbando. Bob coughed to clear his throat, then shrugged. "I'm sorry, I just woke up. So, what are you doing?" "I'm writing a disclaimer for the story I finally finished," she told him proudly. "Oh, and what are you disclaiming this time?" "Well, it seems that good folks who read fanfiction are a bit on the stupid side."
What's this? I hear Wait, Sneaky, I've got breaking news. The author is disclaiming the fact that they have any talent or originality whatsoever. We can skip this now. Thank the good Lord.
Holy shit, you're right. That is breaking news. Well, thank you, on the ground reporter Atin, for telling me this. We can skip this. Alright, so let's get right into it then. Everyone assumed the summer after the 5th year would be the same for Harry Potter as every other summer. They might have been right had things not go horribly wrong at the Department of Mysteries. Had Cyrus lived, Dumbledore's revelation of him being gay, prophecy, might not... That's not how you spell prophecy. They spelt it prop-hessy.
Isn't that how the Brits spell it, or am I crazy?
Well, the Brits are fucking wrong!
We fought an entire war to prove that they're wrong.
There was an entire war about this, Max!
Oh my god. Fucking cunts.
Don't forget our right to pronounce aluminum correctly.
Of course. Well, see, as I told someone earlier, who is from Britain, the whole thing about why we removed you from so many words is because fuck you.
Now, you see, you might think we're saying fuck you, you don't get an explanation. No, that is the explanation. You see, we needed more U's to extend the length of fuck and you.
And you've ruined the joke.
Yeah.
I'm aware.
How do the Germans pronounce aluminum? Aluminium.
Oh, so just like the
So
dirty,
like the
dirty
Brits.
Brits.
You know,
Well, remember,
you know,
they
we
were
fought a
helping
war
us
against them,
in the
too.
war, which was a reason
You know,
we killed them all.
I'm
Christmas.
starting to see a lot of similarities here. We fought a war against the Brits, and they said aluminium. We fought a war against the Germans, and they say aluminium. You know, I'm starting to see a pattern here.
I mean, I just want to point out, like, my favorite thing to argue with someone's like, well, you should do English proper. It's like, bitch, I don't do English, I do American.
I live in America.
I don't speak English, I speak American.
No, let's be clear. We live in America!
No, Atin.
Yes.
We speak American. This includes the shots of gunfire and fireworks.
That's always the best game to play.
Yeah, those are just our punctuation marks and our question marks. We'll leave it up to you to figure out which is which.
So long as it's off my property.
Great. Now I just have the
Sneaky.
mental image of whenever someone asks a question, a firework just shoots out of their mouth.
Sneaky, you grew up in Jersey. I bet you're familiar with the game Gunshot or Firework.
Both are illegal, actually, in New Jersey, so there was no guessing.
Oh no! They're both still illegal in in Illinois too. The question was, which was it?
Bonus round: are the screams of joy or terror?
Is the small child down the hall screaming from happiness, or have we witnessed the birth of Batman?
Anyway.
I like that you immediately made it darker than Sneaky.
Yes.
You should stop doing that.
Illegal doesn't mean doesn't happen.
Look, all I'm saying is Chicago may or may not have a very, very high murder rate.
And all I'm saying is that St. Louis's murder rate is twice Chicago's.
Okay, you know what, in all
St.
seriousness,
Louis is still in Illinois.
in all seriousness,
What the fuck is wrong with Illinois?
I don't know. But in all seriousness, Atin, how have there not been dozens of Red Hood type vigilantes in Chicago by this point?
Because
Like, how has that not
as
happened
much
yet?
Okay, so you know how The Dark Knight was set set in Chicago? They weren't exaggerating about how corrupt the cops are.
That's all the vigilante. Well, I mean, there kind of is a lot of vigilantism in Chicago, I'm assuming. It just, they all tend to die in retaliation strikes. 'Cause, you know, Guy A has his brother get shot, so he shoots
Well, no,
person
okay,
C.
so that's just called gang violence.
Oh, fair enough. Can we have Arrow instead of Dark Knight? No. Arrow is trash. No.
Yeah, seasons 1 and 2 were okay. After that, it was pretty much garbage.
Had Cyrus Liz, blah blah blah, I don't know how to spell America. Blah blah blah, garnered reaction. It did from the young man. Had the old man bothered to check on the occlumency lessons Snape had been giving him, Harry might have been able to block the images Voldemort was sending him. Or maybe, you know, it was on purpose. Or maybe he shouldn't have assigned fucking Snape to do it. You know, there's a lot of things you can question.
Maybe
about
you shouldn't have
Dumbledore's
assigned the
sensibilities.
guy that you knew was a double agent to that. Just to Thoughterino.
Yeah, just, you know. Anyway. In the end, Harry had been sent back to the Dursley household and told to contact the Order every 3 days, so they
Oh
would know
no!
he was being
Harry
treated
was
well.
sent back to the Dursleys. The Dursleys were more mean than they usually are. Harry
Yeah.
decided he didn't want to do this anymore, so
Yep.
now he's gonna
Mhm.
tell Dumbledore to go eat a dick.
Yeah, actually, basically, that's what happened. So, I'm gonna summarize, because Atin's already spoiled this whole fucking story, I'm gonna summarize the first chapter for everyone.
Oh no! It's almost like the author was unoriginal.
Yeah. So, Vernon, beats the shit out of Harry and, like, breaks his arms and shit. And, he starts shitting into a trash can and, dumping it outside of his window. And, blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah, blah. They're trying to beat the magic out of him now. Literally. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah. And then Tonks realized that he was shitting outside of a window, and that all of Harry's letters were lies, and that he was being treated poorly. She returned quickly to Dumbledore. But what happened next? Blah, 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 blah. Suddenly, Harry opened the door to reveal the headmaster. Dumbledore entered the room. "I've come to check on you, Harry." "Oh, you're a bit late. Why talk to me now?" "Because Tonks saw you last night shitting outside the window." "Questions have been raised." "Such as what?" "Like why you were shitting out the window." "Because I'm not allowed outside of my room."
Because you know what? I felt like it.
Does Harry get 560 anal tears? No, he does not. What happened next will shock you. Indeed. Indeed. Before Dumbledore could do anything else, Harry pushed him aside. "If you'll excuse me, you're cutting into the time I can use to shit and take a shower." Blah, 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 blah.
Look at how
blah,
edgy I
blah,
am.
Blah, blah, blah. Dumbledore then goes to Petunia. Petunia! "Ah, fuck you, old man." "Well, why weren't you caring for him?" "Because you dumped him on our front doorstep with a shit note explaining nothing." "Yeah, well, why didn't you take him in? He's your family." "Yeah, well, I didn't want him. You didn't ask me." "Fuck you." "No, fuck you." "Fuck you." "No, fuck you."
To be fair, at least they're having this Petunia raise some decent points. Doesn't excuse anything, but at least they are having her raise some decent points.
Blah 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 blah. Literally every Harry fights Dumbledore blah blah blahs ever. Blah 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 blah. All the points that literally every author brings up ever. Blah 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 Snape. Blah 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 you're old. Blah 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 go away. Blah 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 blah. Suddenly Tonks appears. "Harry, I have an insatiable urge for your dick." I mean, I lied about that one, but I'm not going to be surprised if that happens soon. Blah blah
Yeah,
blah.
I mean, it's pretty standard at this point.
Blah 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 blah. "Harry, come with us. We're here to save you from this place." "I don't want to go. I didn't ask for your help. But we're here to save you. But I don't want to go."
Harry,
What's taking
you're
so
shitting outside a
long?
window. You should take the help.
"What's taking so long?" asked Remus. Don't make the jokes. Don't make the jokes. Whew.
Oh no,
Okay.
Go ahead, make the jokes. I know how your filthy mind thinks.
You know, I look over. Right. Hello, little Mike. I look over to my esteemed Twitch chat. And the first line I see now is, "You have me thinking about an orgy. I leave you guys alone for 3 goddamn minutes."
What is fucking wrong with you people?
Wasn't Tonks a guy? No.
Not as far as I know.
She can be a guy when she grows a dick.
I mean, I'm sneaky. I'm sure that fanfiction's out there.
Well, I mean, it's not so much a fan fiction as an actual fact. Because she's a full body metamorph.
Yes, I'm aware of that. I'm just saying.
Anyway. Blah, blah, blah. What's going on? What's happening? Come on, Harry, let's go. No, fuck you! Harry, leave my house. No, Uncle, I will stay here. Blah, 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 blah. What's taking so long? I want to stay here. Stop asking me. Come on, Harry, come with us. No, fuck you. Blah, 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 blah. Oh my god. Dumbledore clearly sent them to try and control me. I will fuck him by not going with them. Blah 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 blah. And then he called Hedwig a traitor. And then Dumbledore.
Stupid owl.
Yes. And then Dumbledore forced his portkey into Harry's hands, his eyes twinkling. Harry, knowing it was a childish action, removed his hands and slid them under his body. With a chuckle, Dumbledore placed the portkey onto Harry's chest and tapped it with his wand. Harry's rather indignant squawk echoed throughout the room just before he disappeared. Wow, so you just devoted like several hundred words in like 2 different scenes to have Harry saying, no, fuck you, I don't want to leave, just to have Dumbledore make him leave anyway in the end.
Now you see, Arthur, that's what's called shitty writing.
Forcing your portkey into a minor's hands can get you a hefty sentence. Yes, it can, Isley. Yes, it can. Blah 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 blah. He is now inside Grimmauld Place. Blah blah blah. Blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah. Suddenly his luggage appeared, hitting everyone, and he laughed as his luggage hit everyone, and everyone suffered. Blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah. Adults are now whining that forcing a child to go to a place where he doesn't want resulted in the child disliking the adults.
Also, it's a crime. Definitely a crime. When you are not their guardian.
That too.
Which Dumbledore is not, seeing as he, left him on a porch.
Yes, indeed. Blah, 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 blah. Are we making a mistake kidnapping Harry?
Yes,
Could
you
Dumbledore be wrong? Well, would you rather put him with the relatives that we shove him with every year? They'll starve him to death. Blah, blah, blah. Besides, Sirius worked out fine. Yeah, until he died. Huh. Yeah, I guess. Blah, 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 blah. Hedwig should be back soon. Blah, 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 blah. Are you gonna like it here, Harry? Well, I guess one prison's as good as another. Oh, so edgy, Harry. Blah, blah, blah. Are you exaggerating about this? No. This is a prison. I can't leave here. Wah, wah, wah. Edgy, edgy, edgy. Edgy blah. Blah, blah, edgy, edgy blah. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah. Unoriginal conflict.
I got a quick question.
Yes?
At any point in time, did Harry ever actually explain to anyone the shit the Dursleys did to him? In the books?
No. I believe the only time it was revealed that the Dursleys had some problems with Harry to the rest of the people in the story is when the brothers showed up to rescue Harry and ripped the bars off of the windows.
Yeah, well, that and when Hagrid showed up.
Well,
why did none of them report this to someone in charge?
Because that would actually derail J.K. Rowling's shit plot. But no, like as far as it goes, no one actually ever learned what the Dursleys did when it came to Harry, because Harry just didn't
Yeah.
tell them. Because that
yes.
would require character development, and J.K. Rowling doesn't know how to write characters that develop.
Yeah, but like, I'm sorry. I feel like
Max,
I feel like
stop asking questions.
I'm sorry. I feel like Mama Weasley struck me as the kind of character that'd be like, so why did you feel it was necessary to kidnap this boy? Well, we had to pull bars off the window. I'm sorry, bars off the window?
Oh no, see that was actually a thing that did happen in the book, and she was like, "Oh my God, you're so irresponsible! What are you doing, bringing the car out to kidnap Harry from his home? What the hell?" And then the boys are like, "Oh my God, but there was bars on his window," and she's like, "What the fuck, bars on your window?" And then nothing was ever said about it again.
Oh my God.
Anyway, stop thinking about this bad story and proofread our bad story.
I'm gonna finish my dinner first. You
little
ungrateful
Mike,
brat.
you don't understand.
Thought you'd
There is
finished.
already a fanfic about Voldemort's child. It's called Cursed Child, which involves
And
excessive time travel.
it involves male pregnancy.
But why do you do this?
Who, me?
Yes.
Because I'm sure someone's
sorry.
written that.
Are you going to make sure that this isn't a thing right now, Sneaky?
What?
Are you trying to make sure that's not a thing now?
Oh no! Someone on Steam wanted me to play Dota with them, and I was like, "Well, man, I can't play Dota with you right now. I'm streaming shit fanfiction." As much as I'd rather be doing that, I made a promise to myself that rain, sleet, or shine, this podcast will be delivered on time.
Except for that one time we didn't.
Well,
That was one time.
Well, rain, sleet, or shine doesn't include hurricanes or dead people.
Actually, hurricanes are totally made up of rain and sleet.
Yes, they are made up of rain.
Also
but
the wind.
The problem there, though, is while they are made up of rain and sleet, they're kind of a bigger problem than rain or sleet.
The U.S. Postal Service doesn't give a shit about rain or sleet. To be fair, they don't give a shit anyway, but still.
No, now, to be fair, they may not give a shit about rain or sleet, but they certainly canceled all delivery services when the hurricane came. And if the Postal Service is canceling delivery services, I will unfortunately have to cancel my podcast as well. Because as you all know, I have to drive 50 miles up and downhill every day to get to this
So what
podcast.
I'm hearing is, we are as reliable as the U.S. Postal Service.
Yes. And about as amusing.
Ah, come on. We've had at least one clippable moment. The U.S. Postal Service hasn't had any.
That's fair. I kind of really...
This is when we find out that the U.S. Postal Service has a Twitch account, and it's just pumping.
Honestly,
Is that the
I
kids'
kind
thing
of
these
want to
days?
see a gang war. That's kind of... I kind of want to see a gang war between FedEx, USPS, and UPS. Is that too much to ask?
No.
UPS and USPS occasionally use each other's services, so they probably just dump the shit out of FedEx first.
What if it's like, FedEx versus United Postal and UPS?
Wait, a new challenger approaches! The Amazon Air Delivery Drone Service!
Sneaky. That's what it's sneaky. That's what it'll be. It'll be.
They just do drone strikes on all the trucks.
Oh man. Sneaky, why don't we just go full Fate Stay on this? We'll make it like an Ultra Mega Greater Grail War, and they have to choose 7 representatives each.
It's the Postal War!
And
No, guys, Fate Extra Postal.
Oh yeah, and they can only summon people who are influential in postage delivery.
The first rider is Paul Revere.
Yeah, like anyone responsible for anything to do with messages. Like somehow UPS managed to summon Alexander Graham Bell. Just somehow.
I hate you guys so much.
Oh snap! Max, think of all the biblical characters they can summon.
Oh no.
Like, you can get Paul and Timothy, all the apostles.
Oh no. We should probably get back to the story.
No,
Shitpost
this is
gains
more
too much
interesting.
power. No, the shitpost is already gaining too much
Oh,
power.
yeah, no, we can't let the shitpost get any more power, otherwise it might become reality.
Moses
You
is
make
the
that sound like it's a bad thing.
resident. Isley says Moses is the resident berserker.
Hell yes.
I mean,
Did you see what happened when he saw that golden calf, man?
to be fair, he did yell at the water until it got away from him.
Oh, man,
shit,
I
Max,
just...
Max, what would Moses' noble phantasm be, though? Idol breaker, maybe?
Oh no, he just summons the Red Sea on top of your head. Like he has
Slater shot this motherfucker!
Atin. He has a marble. He has a reality marble that is just the Red Sea.
Oh, hell yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh
Now
man,
that-
and imagine you can start getting into the Great Pantheon and shit. Like get Hermes up in here. Messenger
Oh,
of the
hell
gods,
yeah.
yo.
Please stop making me laugh. I'm dying here. You are physically injuring me with your humor.
Who else can we get in?
And we'll pick this up later. We'll pin up an email and send it to Nasu and see what he thinks.
Hell yes. I'm down for that.
Even better, making an Amazon-only production.
No. Come on. This is good enough. We can make this a Netflix special.
No, you have to make it an Amazon-only.
Yeah, but we actually want people to watch it,
Not an ad. Could be an ad.
Well, what if we make it free for Prime members?
Ooh, yes.
Okay. Alright. Blah blah blah, blah blah blah, edginess. I'm edgy. Oh, you're just a minion. I'm edgy though. Remember guys, I'm edgy. Edgy. He refused to eat. Blah blah blah, blah blah. The fridge that everyone ate from was filled with shit. Literally.
I'm sorry.
Does the author think the more
That
times
is
they
the-
say shit, the cooler their story gets or something?
Probably. I'm sorry. Real quick from the stream chat. I don't know who Cat Kitten is. They appear to be new, but I'm like this person. This month on Prime, watch Moses waterboard Paul Revere.
Hell yes, I am.
I
down
would
for that.
actually watch that.
I was gonna
like,
say that's a tagline and a
unironically-
half.
Unironically, I would legitimately watch that. Maybe like the
No,
first
that's like
5
a
to 10
tagline and a
minutes.
half, there, boys.
A throwdown between the message deliverers of all time.
Like I said,
Moses
coming
versus
to
Paul
a
Revere.
theater near you soon. Fate Extra Postal. Hey, do you think we can convince Fate Grand Order to give us a cut?
No, clearly it's gonna be, no, it can't be extra postal, it has to be fate slash, shit, I was thinking of something good and I forgot it was postal something. Going postal, yeah, fate slash going postal.
Ooh, that's a good one.
No, Sneaky. That'll be the sequel follow-up. Okay, so what if we just name it Fate Going, and then we move on to season 2, Fate Going Postal, where it wraps
Yes.
up by
There we
the
go.
last act of war.
Unlimited mail works.
Mm.
I-
No. That sounds like the start of a bad gay porn.
It's raining men!
I'm not gonna lie, I'm really digging this idea for this whole thing. Like, so what's your wish gonna be? For us to be able to do drone deliveries of that and would shoot the damn things down.
Oh, that may be beyond the Holy Grail's power, lad.
I want to be the postal king of the network!
Oh, who else can we get? I mean, you know what? Who invented the internet? You could probably argue he should appear.
Oh, sneaky. Al Gore shows up as Avenger. claims to have been the one to create the internet.
No, Max,
I
he
love
can
Al
only
Gore.
appear in Fate Grand Order as a shitpost chapter.
He melts the ice caps. That's his anti-world noble phantasm.
Yo, a guy and a liar just like, oh, why did we let this go through?
Why did we let this become a thing? I am looking forward to the 2024 production of Fate/Meme.
Don't joke about that. That might happen, man.
Preview of next episode is Alexander Graham Bell choking Al Gore with a carrot. Oh, okay.
Oh, hey, I just realized. Don't forget, Ben Franklin's totally gonna be a summon. He's caster for sure, though.
I believe Ben Franklin actually does have a.
Yeah, he
I
does.
don't-
He is
I
the
don't
second.
think
Yeah.
he does.
Yeah. No, he
Great
does.
Grand Order, mate. He has
No,
one.
no, I don't think he's in Fake Max. I played the American chapter. I
Yeah,
don't think
Heaven's
he's in
Feels
Grand
movie.
Order.
Anyway, back to this edgy pile of garbage here. Miss Weasley hasn't been around in a while, so everything was messy, even though they had a fucking house elf, but you know, whatever. Blah 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 blah. He can't use magic, he doesn't know what charms are, there's no food in the house, but tea is nice, but shit, there's no cups. He started cleaning the house with muggle soap and a muggle scrubbing pad.
Oh, poor baby! You gotta use a little bit of soap and water? Fuck you.
Blah 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 blah. You guys are disgusting. You make so many dirty dishes. Edgy, 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 edgy. You're a little late to clean them with magic now. I've already washed them all. Fucking useless garbage human. Blah 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 edgy. Completely random conflict over cleaning stuff because reasons.
How old
Blah,
is
blah.
Harry by Order of the Phoenix?
Order of the Phoenix? That's his 5th year.
Older than 12, which is what he appears to be fucking here.
No,
Oh my God,
no,
he's
to be
he's-
fair, he's going in his Chuny phase.
Yeah, no, he's just straight up going into his petulant, rebellious phase. Fuck the world, fuck everyone, I'm the only one that matters, kind of thing. That's what appears to be happening. I've met people that act like this at the age of 17 and 18.
Oh, I know, so have I. My sister. Anyway, blah 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 blah. This is unfair, Harry. How dare you level these completely actually valid accusations against me? Says the guy who abandoned his friend's son to a bunch of people who really didn't want him. Blah 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 blah. Oh, Mooney, you can't go to a store? Did Dumbledore tighten your leash? Are you a good doggy? I wish I was fucking kidding.
I'm aware.
Fine, fine. I'll go pick up some food. Why is this a discussion? Why is this an edgy discussion Harry has to have with Remus, the doormat? It's like, there's shit in the fridge. Literal shit. Oh, here, let me just magic that away. Why didn't you do that earlier? I don't know. There's no food in the fridge now. Oh, well, I can't get any. Oh, why? Because you're a little bitch? Fine, I'll go pick up some food. Why is this an actual discussion? I have to sit here and compress for people. Why is this a thing? Like, if the
Because
rest of
you
the story,
chose to read this.
I realize that. But if the rest of the story was like actually useful content, that made me interested in reading it, then I'd be like, oh, this is just another character interaction scene to set up the, the circumstances of everything and blah, blah, blah. Unfortunately, because this has been a pile of edgy shit from the beginning, I just have to sit here and be like, oh, this is a completely pointless scene. It has done absolutely nothing to establish anything that we didn't already know from the previous scenes, because the author's an uncreative hack who basically just has to have, probably by the end of this, have Harry go through every single person in the fucking story and have him be like, oh, I'm so fucking edgy, you're doing all these things wrong. And what's the deal with airline food?
Yo, airline food is actually trash, though.
I mean, actually, it's not. I've had it.
Well, actually, you're right, because you don't actually get airline food anymore.
Yeah, it's like actual food now these days. At least on the flights I take, which are rare, admittedly. Yeah, it depends heavily on the airline in question. If you're using a budget airline like the one in Germany that had to land because their plane was falling apart, then yeah, I guess you would get the punchline joke airline food. But I actually use airlines that don't fall apart mid-flight, and they actually serve like recognizable food, and actually, like, I wouldn't say like 5-star or 4-star, 2.5 to 3-star levels of food. Like, it's not bad.
Like, it's edible.
I'm not gonna go around and tell people, oh, you gotta get some of this food that they serve on this airline, but it's like, well, yeah, I'll certainly fucking eat it. But, anyway, digression over. Back to this shit pile. I keep calling it a shit pile because it just keeps getting higher. I mean, it's gonna be a shit mound soon. Is a mound bigger than a pile?
Yeah. Well, so Sneaky, it goes pile, mound, mountain.
But where does heap get included?
Heap is a weird one. It's halfway between a mound and a pile. It's not actually a standardized unit.
I'll get that. Okay, yeah, I'll buy that. Because it's fan fiction, and most fan fiction does not have thought out plots and are first drafts, and thus are not refined with scenes to actually develop the plot. Yeah, like I said, no, I understand that. I understand most fan fiction will be shit. It's just what I expect from a fan fiction story is for the author to, admittedly, the author does accomplish some of this, is to write the language they're writing in correctly, to write the grammar of the language they're writing in correctly, and admittedly, besides that 1 or 2 words I saw here or there, they did so. But I'm not going to demand a unique plot from them, but I'm sort of going to be like, if you're going to do a tried and true plot of Harry tells Dumbledore he's had enough, at least add some of your own original spin to it. Because while I realize the trope is not unique at all, and you're never going to be able to say, oh, well, you can't do anything anyone else has ever done. Obviously, everyone does something else that's been done before. At least add your own personal flavor to it. Because right now, it is just your bog standard, generic, cast-made Harry Potter refuses Dumbledore fic. Like, there is literally nothing else to this fic besides the trope, practically word for word, at maximum edginess, and proper spelling and grammar.
Yep. That's what I'm noticing here.
Even then, you tend to have a rough outline of what you want to do and have scenes that build towards the conclusion. Again, it's a first draft. I would not expect a clean copy. I would never... No, don't get me wrong. We never expect clean copies. And we've actually commented on fanfictions before where we're just like, wow, this is actually not too bad. Now, admittedly, this is rare, of course. But
I would just say, I think it's been like, what, 8 stories total?
Yeah, around 4 to 8, yeah. But, like, we did go, wow, okay, aside from, minor misspellings that are rare, and
Yeah.
missed commas here and there, this story is good. Obviously,
Yes.
I would never expect nor demand perfect spelling and grammar, because there's always
Sure.
going to be something. And there's also plenty enough rules in English where you could argue it one way or the other. It's why we invented the word semantics, because English is, at the end of the day, mostly semantics.
Yes. Isley, for your off-topic question, Nekopara is a visual novel with cat girls.
It's actually not terrible.
And you run a cafe.
Neat.
I'm not sure if they're like your slaves or if they're your employees or if they agree to work in exchange for your dick. I don't know.
Cat girls cannot consent.
They're a completely separate species that's still treated as sapient, but in that really weird, like, is this slavery if it's consensual?
I'm just saying, no, it sounds like slavery still.
Oh, that's a thing, like...
It's consensual slavery.
I'm still not sure. All I know is most of the character designs are actually okay. And I heard something about the writing being...
But yeah,
good.
To summarize my thought on that whole thing before moving on, in case Atin wants to, or Max wants to add anything into that. I don't expect perfection. I expect a C. From the fan fictions we read here, I expect a C. And we're just getting a shit ton of Fs. Maybe
the occasional D.
It's basically... My complaint here is it's basically we're reading the Wikipedia article. Very rarely there's a misspelling. Very rarely there's a grammar error. But it's something that literally everyone has access to. And adds nothing. You know, you don't want your story to be the fucking Wikipedia article of Harry Potter hates Dumbledore fix. You know,
sounds like such a good deal, though.
But you know, it's like. I've only read a handful of fanfiction that's been good to great. According to one of the people that frequently visits this podcast here, I have read apparently over 180 million words of fanfiction. And I've encountered at least 200 plus stories that I would personally consider 4 to 5 stars. And I favorited around 800. Now, of those 800 stories I have favorited, around 400 are completed. A lot of them are 3.5, like almost on the cusp of like, holy shit, this is great, but not quite there because there's personal bias that makes me dislike certain parts of the story. But I've read actually quite a number of really good unique takes, and even then I've read some really good takes on common cliches and trope fanfictions. The fanfictions that were like, yeah, we're this trope, but here's my take on it, and I sat there and was like, I hate this fucking trope, but holy shit, this is good. Anyway, let us keep moving on. Alright, so they ate some food, and, blah 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 blah, Harry's being sarcastic at Remus, blah 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 blah. Sorry it's such a mess, Harry. We didn't think we needed to clean up this place.
So we just left literal shit in the fridge, because, who wouldn't, right?
What about you two? Don't you eat? Alistair doesn't live here and rarely stays for meals, and I cook for myself all the time. And I usually settle for takeaway. Wouldn't it be easier just to buy food? Yeah, but I hate buying food.
He says buying takeaway?
I hate going to the grocery store and being able to buy my own food. I'd rather pay overpriced for meals every single time. Said, actually, a couple people I know.
Yeah, I was gonna say, said not a lot of people I know, sadly.
Yeah. I'll give you that one, author. Blah blah blah. I'm a whiny bitch. My name is Harry Potter. Blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah. Unoriginal dialogue where Harry just whines a bunch for several paragraphs. I'm not even kidding me. That is literally a paragraph of him whining. That is quite literally a paragraph of dialogue where he just whines.
Of course it is.
Okay. Blah blah
That's
blah
really-
blah. Blah 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 blah. I feel like the Dursleys are the safest place for me to stay. I find that hard to believe. Most fanfiction
Yeah,
I've read that are in good to great are people who care about their writing and never publish a first draft. I would not give that one to an author. The Remus is a second-class citizen when not have the money to afford to eat takeout. I suppose it's true. That's another thing I always was disgruntled at. With how J.K. Rowling portrayed Remus specifically. It's like, oh, I can't get a job. That's why I live in a bought house. And somehow manage to pay my taxes, bills, and eat food. Even
Come
though
on, you really think the wizards
get
are
a job.
sophisticated enough to collect taxes?
Yes.
Yeah, I know they are.
The thing I always was disgruntled about, it's like, dude, Remus, you literally have supernatural strength. Just get a fucking job loading a warehouse at night. No one gives a fuck what you do or what you look like. Can you lift that box? If yes, congratulations. Here's your fucking paycheck.
I was gonna say, listen, go to whatever the British equivalent of UPS is and work on the night shift.
I just said just move to America. That just seemed like it would have been immediately easier.
I mean, yeah.
Okay, yeah, but like J.K. Rowling portrayed, apparently, I don't know this for certain because I just have not paid attention to anything she's done for like the past 8 years. Supposedly with the magical creatures and where to find them, the magical government of America is portrayed as basically Nazis. Like, not radical supremacists, but like fanatical authoritarians when it came to magic. Again, this is just what I've been told, so I cannot confirm this at all. And I really don't care enough to.
The problem I have with that is the whole, well, hang on, America's a melting pot, so if anything, they'd be encouraging it during this period in time. Like, hey, are you stricken with lycanthropy? Come on over. We'll help you. We'll find a place for you to stay.
He's a lycanthrope! He turns into a licking tongue? No, werewolf.
He turns into a like. He eats your shield, the bastard.
The main issue would be working around the full moon. Look, from my experiences at working third shift in a warehouse, they really don't care if you take days off that are odd and arbitrary. As long as you give them a heads up and you're a decent worker at all other points in time, they're just like, oh, what, you need 2 days off? Yeah, sure, fucking here you go.
Yeah. You know what? No, if Rowling really did portray the American actual government that way,
like
that
I
makes
said,
even
this
less
is
sense.
Complete hearsay. I don't care enough to look it up myself.
No, I know, but if that's how she actually did it, that's even dumber because it's like, well, no, this is America. If that's a proper American government, regardless of whether it's separated from the Muggles or not, they're gonna be like, nah, we'll find you a job. We can always use some heavy muscle.
Yeah, but
We'll
we all
use you.
know J.K. Rowling doesn't know how to actually write how a government operates, besides the corrupt British one.
Okay, look, I want to point out ours is not exactly a sterling model of efficiency at this particular juncture.
Okay,
It has not been for
that
several
is
years.
true. However, we are not a country that voted several times to leave a thing, and they have yet to do it. 2 years later.
Yes, that is true.
Anyway, back to the shit story. And, they are not Nazis, but they're super strict on their rules and governance to protect themselves from the non-magicals. Okay, well...
Alright.
I
I guess we have an answer now.
Yeah. But as far as your first comment goes, I've read a lot that are good to great, but the people who write those typically never publish a first draft. No, I know actually a couple authors that I would definitely recommend to other people wholeheartedly that do publish first drafts, and then typically work with the people who give reviews, who give actual reviews of like, hey, this part didn't make sense, can you clarify?
Alright, well, my internet just
And then
shit the bed there.
And over like the span of like the next 2 weeks, they will typically refine the chapter. And I can't agree or disagree with that practice, as they do make actually like really enjoyable to read stories, and they basically release around an entire book every month. So if they want to do it like that, fucking power to them. They're outputting around 60k words a month. Fucking
Who?
Vernaskius. He writes a lot of Ranma fic. And he basically puts out a book every month in terms of word count. Like his chapter, he like puts out 1 to 3 stories, different stories, of around 20 to 30k words each chapter for those stories per month. Yeah. So it's just like, you know, if that's how you want a beta, fucking power to you, man. But yeah. Apologies, my computer crashed. What did I miss? I was waffling on about fanfiction. So, basically the point of this podcast. Alright, let's get back on into it. So anyway, blah blah blah. Did they starve you? No, they just didn't feed me much. Did they abuse you? Well, maybe. They broke my arm a couple times, and they usually pushed me down the stairs, or slapped and kicked me, or shoved me, or pulled my hair, or beat me. The heavier stuff didn't start until I moved into the bedroom upstairs, though. I always had nightmares, but around the 4th year they were bad. I woke up everyone in the house screaming a lot. Because, you know, hey, you watched someone die in front of you, and you're not a sociopath. We're not going to send you to any sort of psychotherapy, though, because that would be, like, intelligent. Anyway, so blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah. They beat me a bunch. And Dumbledore knew? Yes, he knew. He knew all about it. He placed me here because of the prophecy. I'm not willing to forgive him for it. Okay, so no, I was right, Max. They did just misspell prophecy at the start, because they're using the proper spelling of prophecy now.
Okay, then.
Prophecy? The one Voldemort and me. The older man stared at him. This is the prophecy, he told him. Wait, are you telling me you're the only one you can kill? The Dark Lord! His name's Voldemort, Remus. Stop flinching. Fucking Christ, you're a man baby. Blah 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 blah. Just call him Tom Riddle then. And you're the only one that can kill him? That's what the prophecy says, and Dumbledore believes the prophecy, and so does Voldemort. Holy shit, Remus. Stop fucking flinching every time I say Voldemort. It's just a name. Voldemort, 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 Voldemort. Now, to be fair, that is canon. Harry Potter did do that to someone. In canon.
I mean, he's got a point, but
I'm not saying releasing a first
Not
draft
the
is
Wheel
bad.
of Time, where saying, I forget whatever the Dark One's name is. In
I mean,
that, but
now-
like, saying
now,
his
to
name
be fair-
actually gets his attention.
Now, to be fair, in the 7th book, that actually did happen. It actually sort of backfired on Harry, because he was so used to just saying Voldemort, that when Voldemort actually made his name a taboo, it, like, actually got them into trouble, because he would keep saying Voldemort.
Voldemort, 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 Voldemort.
I found the source of the ticking! It's a pipe bomb!
Yay!
Potter Puppet Pals. That was the greatest thing ever to come out of Harry
It
Potter.
was so stupid and so wonderful.
So fantastic. I'm not saying releasing a first draft is bad, especially because they will do revisions and respond to helpful criticism. I just found that most of the times it's the ones that revise their work before releasing. Yeah, that I'll give you that. That's fair enough. I also find a lot of authors before I did this podcast, I actually used to go through, like, I have a lot of reviews that I've made, and I used to go through stories that I thought had promise and give actual reviews at the end of the entire story, listing my complaints through each chapter and what I think the author needed to work on, and I would give examples. And almost 90% of the time I was met with, fuck you, my work is perfect. So, obviously, I eventually gave up on giving those reviews to people, because if 9 out of 10 times the author tells me to fuck off because their work is perfect the way it is, and most of the 9 of the 10 authors that did accept my criticisms would give me empty platitudes about fixing their story, and then they would never do that. Yeah, it certainly made me learn to just not even fucking bother trying to help people, because to me at least, it seemed that a lot of the people on fanfiction.net didn't want help. They didn't want to improve their ability to write stories. They just wanted to be praised for what their skill level currently was at, and they didn't want to go anywhere else with it. Now, I will admit there's probably plenty of authors out there that want to improve, genuinely. But those authors typically tend to improve. And so when I read their stories, it turns out, oh yeah, you were shit like 8 years ago, but now that I'm reading your story now, in this current day and age, you've already improved past the point I can help you. And I don't make any disillusionment, illusion about my skill level. I'm not an excellent writer. I'm not an excellent editor. I'm not even like probably beyond 3 stars in terms of like being able to give someone constructive criticism. But most people that I could have helped because they were open and receptive have pretty much moved past that point by the time I get to them. I think it was only like one person ever that actually took my criticism seriously and got better for it. But, it's like 1 of 300 reviews I made. Speaking of, I need to go back to criticizing your and Kelm's collab work. Yeah, you should. Because I keep trying to make people, like, actually, like, say my shit's bad. And then I keep getting told that it's good, and I'm just sitting here like, no, it's fucking awful, I just don't know what's wrong with it. And, it's actually kind of frustrating, to be honest. But, anyway, enough about how bad I am as a person. Let's keep going about how bad this person is at writing. Thanks, Isley. I appreciate that. Blah 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 blah. Shut up, Harry. Blah 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 blah. Pointless babble between the two. Blah 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 blah. Snape is an evil guy. Yes, we know Snape is evil. Blah 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 blah. Stating obvious stuff that was learned like way later. Yeah. Blah 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 blah. Snape is terrible. Wah wah wah. He is so shit. Wah wah wah. Yes, I know he's shit. Yes, he is so shit. Snape is awful. I think Dumbledore is awful. Because he trusts Snape. Well, maybe. Blah 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 blah. Voldemort, Voldemort, Voldemort. Dumbledore, Voldemort. Blah blah blah. I hate Dumbledore. Blah blah blah. Dumbledore's not perfect, but you shouldn't hate him. Blah 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 blah. Dumbledore's gonna try and kill me before my 17th birthday with all the shit he gets up to. That's not true, Harry. Hang on, he said, cutting Remus off. If he's so interested in protecting me, then why does he keep putting me in situations that almost get me killed? Well, that's not true, Harry. It's just completely coincidental that literally every single year the Defense Against Dark Art instructor tries to murder you. Even though Dumbledore is the one that's supposed to approve of all the choices for teaching staff. Yeah, this dialogue is literally just narration of events and character opinions of others. It's not even like, these are two characters talking to each other, sharing their feelings about certain subjects. It's just, I hate Dumbledore. Don't hate Dumbledore. He is not perfect, but he good man. No, I hate Dumbledore. I also hate Snape. Well, Snape is pretty bad person. Yes, he does all these bad things. You are right. He does lots of bad things. It's just, yeah. There's a slight difference between he's going to kill me and he's going to get me killed. Yeah, intent. And Dumbledore did, in fact, kind of intend for Harry to die. So, yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Anyway, blah 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 blah. I am going to rehash literally all the fucking events that brought us to this point. Oh my god! These things that were never specifically declared illegal are illegal! Fanon. I love Fanon. Blah 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 blah. Harry whines more about the events that happened in previous books. Blah 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 blah. More whining from Harry Potter. Literally, paragraph upon paragraph. I shit you not. Multiple sentence paragraphs of dialogue of Harry Potter whining about the previous books.
Yay?
And then suddenly, Miss Weasley shows up with food. And then Miss Black shouts about pure blood supremacy and blood traders. Thanks, Arthur. I'm so glad you reminded us. I'm sure that was completely plot relevant for us to be reminded of. I just want to point out that Dumbledore does not care about the students, really. I mean, we're the Troll and the Slytherins and the Hufflepuffs. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's been a thing that's been pointed out. There's a lot of shit that gets pointed out that just makes me sit there and go, I'm pretty sure Dumbledore wasn't evil. He was just senile. He just straight up was like, I want to save everyone. Who the fuck am I trying to save again?
You know what, that might honestly have made it all the more interesting, just like the actual plot twist. No, he's just a senile old man. Things wouldn't have escalated this far, but he's the reason Voldemort became a Dark Lord. Or something like.
Also, like, who the fuck goes into an orphanage and goes, "Hi, kid with magic. I hear you're bullying people." Sets fire to everything he owns. Don't use magic to bully people. That's wrong. It's like that. What the fuck was that supposed to teach an orphan?
Other than don't bully with people with magic until you're strong enough to get away with it.
Yeah, basically. Oh, shit, wait! That's exactly what fucking happened! Never attribute to malice which can be explained by stupidity. Well, that is true in most situations. It's actually just sort of the opposite. when it comes to even published works, especially fan fiction, though, always attribute malice in character to authorial stupidity. And the fan fictions we read pretty much express that solely, because it's like we see so much shit where like the characters are like, "Oh, I hate you because I'm gonna make your life awful," and it's like, wait a second, that statement doesn't make sense. And the author's just like, "Yeah, but I have an IQ of 3." I mean, I don't mean to rip on authors like that, but it just gets so fucking old after a while, where it's just like, this character hates the main character for no other purpose than to provide a conflict in the story. Because I don't know how to write conflicts, so I'm just gonna hate someone irrationally. Yeah, you can ask Max, how long I'll take sitting there looking at 4 lines of dialogue trying to distill a personality out of them.
Oh, we both sat there and did that.
Anyway, I'm gonna go eat because you seem to have this handled. So
Anyway, yeah, you fucking fuck off.
Meanwhile, it's looking like I'm gonna have to yell at UPS for not having my package here, even though it's out for delivery.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And when it's not getting the character, it's like being a competent enough author able to articulate why they're doing a thing. It makes sense in your head, but not on the page. Yeah, no, that's a common problem. But like, again, I don't expect like mastery of characters, which is why I do constantly recommend to fan fiction authors, especially new ones or people just trying to get familiar with characters. If you're going to add new characters, fucking do your work for them. If you're going to use characters that have been already introduced into the canon, you don't really even have to try too hard. Their personalities are already there. There's wiki pages. You don't even have to, like, unless it's for Dark Souls, I suppose. But like any fucking anime, there's gonna be paragraphs of personality for them. Usually because the light novel or the manga runs longer than the anime, and people who are fans of the series have already put the personality profiles that were derived from the light novel or the manga in there. But statement still stands. You know, you have these character sheets basically already filled out. And I see so many times, this is actually very frustrating for Wormfix. I see a completely out of character Taylor, and she acts absolutely out of character. I'm just sitting here like, Jesus Christ, guys. She is the main fucking character who Wildbow spent the most time actually developing a personality for. The entire fucking story is about character development of Taylor as a person.
Yeah.
If there was one character I expect a person to get right in a story like Worm, it would be Taylor. But no.
Oh yeah. Spigot, the issue with that is that, yeah, there's a lot of lore within item descriptions, but that lore is spread out over
It's
hundreds
funny
of
that
items.
you mention that, Spigot.
And
Because we actually write a Dark Souls fic, Max and I.
flavor text in item descriptions doesn't tell you much about a character's personality. Honestly, looking at armor designs tells you more about what a character goes through and feels
Yeah, but
than the flavor text does.
and to be fair, admittedly, in Dark Souls 1, we would spend several hours sitting there looking at dialogue and like going back and forth of, do you think they're more like this or more like this? And then we would hop into the game and like hear those lines because we would keep doing new game pluses, so we could actually hear those lines.
No, we didn't keep doing new game pluses. We would go and track down the recorded voice lines
That's
as well
true.
as the cut voice lines, because replaying the game to get those lines was a stupid idea.
That was pretty dumb.
Stopped. Like after the third time, I was like, you know what? Nah, I'm just gonna go to YouTube. Fuck this.
Yeah.
Also, on the playthrough I did with Atin recently that we just wrapped up. By the way, Sneaky, remember how you could homeward bone out of the kiln so that you could help your co-op buddy finish off his guy before you got the endings?
Yes.
They patched that out. You just get
Oh.
homeward boned into the kiln.
Oh.
Yeah, so now Hovel is stuck in New Game forever. Cause I just like, nah, I can't now. Can't. But yeah, no, there's so much in that game. It's just like we will never get to see the full realization of Miyazaki's world for Dark Souls.
Wind Ranger Ahsoka. Isley, do your job as
that's
archiver and find that for me. But I'm sure that exists. Wind Ranger times Ahsoka. Thank you, Isley.
You realize one day we're gonna have to find some way to pay her, right?
Look, when we start getting paid, I'll start considering paying her. At this point in time, nobody's getting money.
Well, we've received money, haven't we? We just haven't received the minimum amount for withdrawal.
In the 2 years we have been doing this, we have not received enough money to get our first paycheck.
To be fair, this does seem like a pretty niche.
Yeah,
thing.
as I have told people before, this is a niche. Fanfiction of a niche. Podcasting of a niche. Podcasting about fanfiction, giving writing advice while mocking it.
Isley has already given us a story that is most certainly worthy of disapproval.
It has lemons and Fuda in it. God damn, Isley. If that's the first result, I don't want to know what the rest of your Google history looks like.
Yeah. Oh boy.
I wanted to know. Well,
Kitten. Oh god.
unfortunately, lad, we do not cover not safe for work stuff here. Specifically because it's against Twitch's rules, and I kind of actually don't want to be banned off of Twitch. Can you put it in the Discord? Isley can, in fact, put it in the Discord. But Isley can, in fact, needs to access the Discord first.
Does that mean we're now gonna have a fanfiction NSFW section now for Isley's little
we might need to make an
explorations?
Isley's corner specifically for the horrors that Isley
We should probably put the NSFW gate on as well. Like, hey, you need to be 18.
All right, I'm gonna write this down into a notepad.
Oh no, Iz is putting it in the normal fanfiction section. Oh dear.
There. Save.
You're giving her 5/10 of a penny, you fucking cunt.
Well, you know, there's taxes and there's business expenses.
Oh god. Yeah,
I saved
Sneaky
it.
that now exists on the Discord server.
Thank you. Does it really? Put it in fanning flames.
Oh, Spigot just gave 5 cheers.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I know Spigot did. I just made a whole notepad. Number 1, Spigot!
Sudden computer crash. Okay, so I lost the notepad. But I
No,
think I remember it was
I pledge.
0.005 cents.
I pledge to pay Isley 5 cents upon being paid, even though that 5 cents actually won't even pay for the transfer of payment.
You can transfer anything for free, but I think it needs to be a minimum of $5 on PayPal.
Yeah, probably. No, it's not for free. You can only transfer money between people if, well, no, it's seller and buyer. It's for tax purposes, actually.
Yeah, but you know, you could just say it's a gift.
But that also gets included in tax. But yeah, I understand what you're saying.
No, it doesn't. Since a gift would count as under-the-counter money, you're not, by law, you're not required to report it. But the government would very much appreciate it if you would.
I also like how there is on the tax forms a section for illegally obtained money, and the government's just like, look, we promise we won't actually convict you for any illegally obtained money you have. Just please report it so you can pay tax on it.
I know, it's just like, we can't tax it, but we'd like to. That's a weird thing when you start looking at the tax system. It's like, you know,
Like,
they can't, like, the only thing they can tax is anything that you're on a payroll for. But they'd really appreciate it if you would let them tax you on, gift money.
the IRS is literally not allowed to prosecute you using any information they gain from your tax forms.
Oh, dear Christ.
So
And
if
I can't wait.
If you
I
straight
bet-
up say,
oh,
I have earned no income, but I have gained $1 million illegally, and the previous week you robbed $1 million from a bank, they straight up can't be like, here's the proof of him admitting he robbed the bank. They legally cannot do that.
Oh, God, and you know what? I bet people have managed to walk out on trial. That's like, it's clear you guys used my tax information to get this evidence.
I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised in the fucking slightest. And as we all know, Al Capone was arrested for tax evasion. They literally could not arrest him on anything else besides tax evasion. And if he just paid his taxes on his criminal empire, they wouldn't have been able to arrest him, period. Wouldn't that be a world? Wouldn't that be a world?
It would be.
I am both surprised and unsurprised. America! Fuck why? Anyway, back to it. Blah blah blah. Ron and Hermione couldn't come. Oh, why not? Oh, well, you know how things are. No, I really, why can't they come? Because Dumbledore won't allow it. Said it was too dangerous for them to visit you in this secret location nobody can have the knowledge of. Interesting. Hmm. Fucking what? Alistair! The headquarters of the Order of the Phoenix is too dangerous. That's what Dumbledore said. Too dangerous for what? Kids. What am I? Small adult? Hello, Potter. Should ask the old man. Miss Weasley? I'm sorry, dear. Dumbledore told me not to bring them. Believe me. They both wanted to come. I thought I'd have to cast a silencing charm on Ron, he was yelling so much. Hey, Ronnie! Yes. The only way to evade tax evasion is to pay your taxes. So then you're a tax evader.
Yeah. Still not really sure how you actually go about doing tax evasion when they have you on a payroll. I've never quite understood that.
Look, man, do not underestimate the sheer levels of laziness and maliciousness and spite and just generally any other emotion that people have that cause them to try to evade taxes. I have seen some miraculous things of people somehow being on a payroll without a name and without an address and without a bank account, earning more than me per year. And I've had to sit there and be like, how the fuck? I'm mad, but also impressed.
Yeah.
Yeah, the headquarters is too dangerous to go to, but it's perfectly safe to protect Harry. Indeed.
Of course. See, it's Harry being there that makes it a danger to everyone else.
Indeed. I'm sorry, dear. No mail. Nothing non-school related. Look, Potter, I'm gonna be truthful with you. I think Dumbledore's making a mistake with his handling of you. I don't need handling. I agree. I've told Dumbledore I don't agree with him either, but he won't listen. Didn't listen when I told him he was making a mistake with Black either. Look how that turned out. Who knows about this? No friends, no mail business? The Order. All of the Order? Even Remus? Yep, all of us. Made Snape happier than I've seen him in ages. I bet, that greasy bastard. Harry, watch your language. I can only do that when I'm writing, and I don't intend to give up verbal communication anytime soon. Oh, wow! Oh, fucking call 911 for that burn! I bet you think you're fucking witty, author. Like, on one hand, there's no way, like, a 7th grader wrote this. Because the grammar and spelling's too good. But on the other hand, a 7th grader or lower had to write this. Because they don't understand what characters are besides narration tools. And they don't understand what dialogue is besides a narration tool. And they don't understand what a personality is besides being edgy and hating adults. Is that just me? No? No, me, eh?
Just you, I guess.
Just me, I suppose. Oh, okay. Ahsoka became a Fuda. Why? I have seen 7th graders read better stories. Right. Yeah. No, yeah, that's unfair to 7th graders, honestly. I never quite understood people using, like, grades as a denotation of ability to write. But admittedly, there is some minor understanding there, because I have seen some stories where I'm just like, oh wow, this is really good. How old are they? They're just entering high school? What the fuck? But then I've also seen stories where I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, this is awful. How old are they? They're a 48-year-old teacher? Yeah.
Must have been a bio teacher.
They must be a gym teacher. But, yeah, no, it's just like... Most published work is actually written at a 5th grade level. Yeah, honestly, I'm not surprised. Because when you publish a book, the point of the book is to be purchased. And to be purchased, the person has to read it, and most people aren't like the sort of people that go, I'm gonna go read War and Peace. Which, I mean, I did. But most people aren't like that. And so you want your book to be accessible to as many people as possible, so even people that typically don't buy books would have a chance of buying your book to maximize your profits. And yeah, I understand that on a level. I don't like it, but I understand it. But even then, I still think people should have a higher grade of writing, even if they eventually dumb it down and simplify it to make for mass consumption. I feel like personally people should hold themselves to a higher standard, and we see that so fucking rarely in these stories. I easily can confirm that we saw one author who was writing for what, max 14 years, and their first story was literally the same quality as their 50th or whatever it fucking was.
I believe I remember that, but that was near, the start of this little venture
Yeah,
of yours and that?
that was near the start when we actually investigated the authors writing it, and it was actually depressing that this person had not improved their spelling, their grammar, their characterization, depth of their plots, or personalities of characters, not once in 14 years. And it wasn't even like you hit a mildly good level where everyone enjoys reading your story if they enjoy the genre that you're writing for. It wasn't even like that. It was like, this is like 1 star at best, and over the course of like 14 years, they just never improved, even though they had written like 1,000,000+ words. And it's just like, how are you at that point where you don't improve? Like, even without people pointing out mistakes to me, over time, I personally think I have gotten better at writing after having written my disaster of a first story, my disaster of a second story, my disaster of a third story, and the fourth story, the one I wrote with Max, finding its own stride, the 5th one that I'm writing with Cool Rune, being not maybe a major hit, but certainly getting a crowd to follow it. I personally feel like I've improved as an author when it comes to both writing characters and writing more complex plots beyond bad guy bad, good guy good. Yeah, it's probably within the 30 to 40 episode range. But, like, even without people pointing out mistakes to me, even without learning from other people's works, I feel like just the amount of time I've spent writing, I've just gotten better at writing, because I've started to notice certain things where I've been like, oh, well, that doesn't make sense. And for someone who's done it for 4 times the amount of time I've been doing it, to literally never improve, this sort of personality or willful blindness to one's own work has got to be immense. And unfortunately, while not that extreme, it's a fairly common occurrence I've seen in fanfiction, is people just think their work is so amazing and they just don't try to improve. And then those people go on to get hired by companies like BioWare and EA, and then we get shit piles like Mass Effect Andromeda and the new Battlefield and the new Star Wars movies, and it's absolute trash pile works that you just sit there and go, Jesus Christ, who the fuck is this person? And you look at their Twitter page and, oh, they write Mass Effect fanfiction featuring smut with Asari. And it's bad! I'm not surprised at all now that the story of Mass Effect Andromeda sucked. But, yeah. Well finished is what... No original concepts, but not terribly done. Yeah. If they're writing the first drafts and believe it's perfect already without revising, that's their own fault. Yeah, pretty much. Strongly appeals to have harems, yeah. Yeah, that's something I definitely find. There's a lot of the people who trying to write harem work don't actually know really how to write. And they'll get like maybe 10 chapters, maybe like 20k, maybe like 100k if they're lucky words in, and then they just realize they just can't put all the characters in, their plot's moving too slowly, and they're uninterested in the work now because it just takes so long to write every chapter because the main character's fucking 37 different people, and they feel the need to include every single character into the chapter, so each fucking chapter takes up like 15k words, but the plot goes fucking nowhere because the majority of those words is just Naruto saying hi to every one of his harem slaves. But, yeah. There's so many concepts I sit there and go, wow, that could be really interesting in terms of character development. And then the author's just like, hey, what if I just go full retard with it? And she's like, no, author, please do not do that. And they're like, turn it to 20 then. But anyway, enough griping about fanfiction. Now let's get back to shitty fanfiction that's causing me to gripe about fanfiction. Anyway, so more blah blahs and some edgy stuff about how everyone knows everything about Harry's situation, but they still won't do anything because Dumbledore told them that would be bad. Because Dumbledore's a big meanie and he's evil. And, then, Harry, then Harry punched the painting in revenge, and the painting started to sing, and all the adults cursed. One might even call it a Harry situation. Yeah. Now, this is just, like... Obviously, I'm biased with certain points, due to how I was taught writing. And I will fully admit that I was taught clear, concise writing. And superfluous stuff that doesn't really serve any purpose, I generally dislike. And it's instances like this where I sit here and go, does this scene actually serve any purpose? And the answer with fanfiction especially is usually no. Like, the author, maybe the author wanted to show that Harry is a childish bastard, but then you have to sit there and be like, okay, but what's the purpose of showing that? So when he's a bastard later, no one's surprised? Like, you know what I'm saying, Max? It's just like, where are you trying to go with this? Right?
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure you and I have looked at our story together, just be like, what the fuck are we going with this?
Yeah,
We've been guilty of this before, but we also don't care, and we just keep plowing ahead
Well-
until we eventually reach the end.
The other thing, though, is I actually explained this to Isley, because Isley did ask me for writing advice and shit, because she was having a difficult scene. There's two kinds of stories. Well, there's more kinds, obviously, but two kinds in generalization. There's plot-driven stories where your end goal is a certain plot, and the story spun around it. And then there's character-driven stories where the plot is sort of like set in stone. Like, everyone knows the hero's gonna defeat the bad guy in this story. Duh. That's obvious. They're reading it for the characters. You're writing it for the characters. Like, it's the character interaction that gives this story the reason for reading it and not the plot itself. That's what our Dark Souls story is. Everyone knows what happens in Dark Souls. They're not reading it to read what happens in Dark Souls. They're reading it to see what the fuck happens with Havel and Valkyrie. And with those sort of stories, it's a lot less... it's a lot more, and at the same time a lot less freeform. Because you're kind of stuck in what sort of plot events will happen, but at the same time, you're really free to do anything else outside of that. As long as you cover the main plot points every once in a while, you can just do what we did, and the characters were like, we're going here now. 7,000 words later, well, let's get them back on the plot train, and hey, that wraps up nicely. You know?
Yep.
Thank you for that advice. Now well on the way to finishing that chapter. Well, I'm glad it helps you. Anyway, then there's plot specific stories like this. This is not a story where you're like, I wonder how Harry's character develops. No, this is a story where you're specifically, if you want to read this story, you're specifically sitting down to see how Harry, in plot terms, spites Dumbledore and saves the day. You're not reading it for Harry's massive character development. You're reading it for Harry and the special method this author comes up to defeat Dumbledore and Voldemort and whoever else they decide to throw into it. And now, certainly there's other Harry Potter stories I've seen that were character development, where they were like, at the end of the 4th year with Cedric Diggory's death, Harry Potter was like, holy shit, fuck this, and went to America. Which, admittedly, fair enough. Is this story actually driven by anything? Yes, this is. I personally would classify this as a plot-driven story, and where the purpose of the story is to get you to the end goal while giving you interesting scenes along the way. Not really focusing on the character itself, but sort of like, this is the character's rise to power. This is the character doing X thing. This is the character doing Y thing. This is the character beating the big bad. This is the epilogue.
Yeah.
This isn't a, oh, what will the character do next? Well, according to his personality and the events that have already transpired, the character would likely do the following. So let me write that. That's character-driven. Plot-driven is, okay, well, let's see. Harry's got to gain a superpower, so, he shoots hands out of his ass. Check. Boom. Nailed that scene. And, this is the power Voldemort knows not. Boom. Now that we've established that's the power that's going to beat Voldemort. And, let's see, gotta get revenge on Dumbledore. So, Dumbledore dies by lemon overdose. Boom. Done that scene. And then Voldemort dies to hand shoved up his ass. From Harry's ass. Boom. Done. Epilogue. Draco times Malfoy. Yeah. The second fanfic has a droid they called Randy. I've just not been here long enough to know the plot or even seen the plot. Hey, don't worry, Spigot. There's no real plot here. That's just me mocking the author. And this is as I would say, I would generally classify this as a plot-driven, as it seems to be fic, because it doesn't seem like there's any rhyme or reason to the character doing anything. There's no real reason to read this story for the character, because it's not like the character is an original concept or original take on a known concept. The character is literally the fucking trope. So unless you're like reading the trope, there's no real reason to read it for the character. So I can only assume that you're here to read it for the special way this author thinks Harry Potter is going to beat both Voldemort and Dumbledore. And what therefore is a plot-driven story, because the plot's going to be the key part as to why Harry defeats Voldemort and Dumbledore, and not because Harry Potter develops as a character and as a person and learns things along the way, which eventually ends up with him defeating Voldemort and Dumbledore.
Indeed, indeed.
Anyway, so blah blah blah, go get locked in your room while this order meeting happens, blah 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 blah. When are they gonna get here? I don't know, not much longer. Blah 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 blah. Useless confrontation to already previously established facts that Harry doesn't like any of the people here. So really, it's just really long amounts of dialogue where they're just kind of grumbling at each other of, hey, do this thing. No, I don't want to do this thing. Do this thing. I don't want to do thing. Do thing. I don't do thing. Magic spell. Magic spell. Magic spell. Magic missile. I cast magic missile too. Flare. I mean, I'm just making him shut up at this point, but yeah, it's more entertaining than what the fuck happens here. So basically, Harry's like, "Nah, fuck you. You can't make me do shit." And then all the adults are like, "We know more magic than you, Harry," and they kick the shit out of him with magic. And then, suddenly, Harry's like, "Haha, actually, I'm God!" And deflects all their spells and captures Moony.
I'm pretty sure that's not how it went. You're probably confusing it with another story of some kind.
Um,
At the very least, they haven't all come in to kick his shit in yet.
Okay, yeah, that's true enough. So anyway, Harry shoots Expelliarmus at Remus and catches his wand, and then silences and incarcerates Remus. And blah 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 blah. Exposition. Useless paragraphs of dialogue exposition. I'm not even shitting you. Like, there is no breaks in this dialogue. It's just a paragraph of exposition dialogue. Trope exposition. Now I'm gonna use you as bait. Ha 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 ha. Werewolves can fly. Alright, let's go. This is gonna hurt you a lot, Moony. Enjoy the ride. Oh my god, Harry, no, don't do it. And the man fell. And he broke the table. And then everything started shrieking and everyone started shouting. And then they turned the corner and Harry started shooting magic at everyone. And Miss Weasley collapsed to the floor unconscious. And then Tonks came out and Harry shot her too. And then everyone came out one by one and Harry shot them all too. With magic, of course, not a gun. We're not that edgy yet. Dice roll. No, so speaking of which, I actually did read a story in which the author had a character from a D&D game get summoned. And he straight up had the character every 6 seconds take an action. Because that's how their world worked. It worked by 6 seconds. Because that's how D&D works, is everyone takes their turn every 6 seconds. And so the character straight up in a normal world could only act every 6 seconds.
That's...
And don't get me wrong. Like, you would think, oh, that's dumb. It was actually performed. It was so fucking good. And I'm so sad that the story is dead. But the author went from the first book all the way to, like, the 5th book. And I was like, wow. Yeah, unfortunately, it's dead now. But it was when it was going, it was good. It was Harry Potter and the Natural 20. Good book. It was actually really good. Anyway, it was 3.5 too, so it got really silly.
Of course it was.
Blah 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 blah. I am Dumbledore. Wait, hold on. I'm not Dumbledore. I am.
Moody.
Isn't yeah? It's Moody. Okay.
Yeah, but it was just like, oh, I've been watching this. It's entertaining.
I, Moody, am going against Dumbledore for no explicit reason beyond I don't like this thing. Even though I, as a character, have never shown any sort of actions like this before, I, unprecedentedly, will take this action now. Because I wish to be set up as an anti-hero that supports Harry's cause. Honestly, I would respect the author so much more if that's legitimately the reason that Moody gave. Just flat out. Why are you doing this? Because I want to be the anti-hero in your story. A question for you. Would it be possible to apply your particular expertise called Love Can Bloom?
What the hell have I come back to? Also, side note, I hate my family.
I hate your
That's
family
why I've
too.
been gone so long.
I'm gonna go join a fan, someone in law. Well, I lost respect for you, Spick, and I'm sorry. Have fun with fanfiction. Oh, we certainly will. And we'll always be here from Tuesdays to Fridays, so you should join us then too. I even have a handy dandy little app that tells you when we're going to be streaming this fanfic podcast. So you should join us every time because you have made it. You've given Isley hope that someday there will be people besides her talking in our chat.
Yeah.
That's a laugh.
It's so kind of weird. Like, when did Isley join us again? She was
Back
one of the
around
first.
episode 60-ish.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're at episode 50. Wow.
Well, I appreciate your dedication to this podcast, Isley.
Someday, when we have money, we'll hire you as our archivist.
For 5 cents.
An episode.
You could thank
that
Spigot. That's good. That's gonna be our other reoccurring meme on this podcast. Is Isley is paid 5 cents.
Can that will that just be a custom emote? Like
Yes.
pay the
Yeah.
archivist pay every time there's
Archivist
time
pay.
there's-
Yes, that'll be the next emote when we unlock it.
Oh,
And,
we can make that like a specific donation thing. Like here are the donations. Oh, there's an archivist here. What's this do? 5 cents. Pays Isley for the episode. First person to do it clocks it off for everyone else for the rest of the episode.
Every time Isley looks something up, they have to be paid 5 cents. But anyway, future memes aside, let us continue. Blah 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 blah. Stun and bind me like everyone else. Go on easy on me, kid. Blah blah blah. Call the elf. The crazy one creature. Tell him to ward a house against us. Why would he listen to me? You own the house. Didn't Dumbledore tell you own this house? No, of course he didn't. Everything Sirius owned belongs to you now, including that elf. So he'll listen to me. I understand. It seems a bit odd you're helping me. Well, I don't like Dumbledore anymore. Okay. Blah 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 blah.
Are we still on this?
Dude, I look. Okay, so basically, what's happened this podcast is what I like happening is where we don't view too much fan fiction. but we actually just sit here and talk with the fans.
Oh, okay.
About
so
fanfiction.
Got it.
Yeah. Yeah, we did diverge quite often answering questions and statements. But because the people who were providing such quality divergement are now gone, we must go back to the stage and
Well, I mean,
continue this
actually,
play.
if you want, we've got only 5 minutes left, so we can do the wrap-up if you want.
There's been little to no fan fiction read in this podcast. I will have you know, at least 10,000 words of fan fiction have been read in this podcast. I just happen to be replacing a majority of those words with blah 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 edgy dialogue. Because really, that's all there was to it. It's just Harry going, I dislike you. And the person going, why do you dislike me? And then Harry, for the next several paragraphs, talks about why he dislikes said person. And then every single time that person shows up, that's basically what happens.
Wait, did we cover another fic aside from this one? I think this is the only one, isn't
No,
it?
this is the only fic we're covering.
Yeah, no, honestly, we've only covered one fanfic this podcast, which is very rare.
That's not a complaint.
This might be the...
Yeah, no, don't worry, my dude. If you actually see some of our podcasts where we cover a shit ton of fan fiction, there has been moments of just absolute suffering. I'm pretty sure if we get enough
rage.
of this
Violent rage.
if someone actually sits down and makes like a compilation of our podcasts into like one long stream of like the worst fan fictions ever, I think that might actually be like under the Geneva Conventions for unusual and extreme torture methods.
The prohibition is on cruel and unusual punishment, but the point does remain.
Like, they might add on to the Geneva Convention. Specifically for this.
Our podcast gets added specifically.
Yes.
Isley is continuing to push the meme of 500 anal tears, unfortunately.
Anyway, so blah blah blah, edgy, confronts Dumbledore, blah blah blah, edgy, I'm my own man. Oh, I love you, Harry, so I'm coming with you, says Tonks. Remus also announces he's coming with Harry, because they have turned against Dumbledore, because Dumbledore is mean. I'm just kidding, no one turned against Dumbledore, Harry just stormed out. Or something, I don't fucking know. I don't fucking care either. Okay. Alright. It's been a while since you've seen this scene. So anyway, you asked and you shall receive. So once upon a time, and long, long ago, there was a story in which Harry Potter was raped so much he had 327 anal tears, which we calculated to, at his age, be more anal tear than intestine he physically had to tear. So his tears had tears. And then Snape lovingly took him in. As a cat, of course. Harry Potter turned into a cat after being raped. And Snape took him in. And he was like, I shall care for you, young boy. And Harry Potter grew up with a father named Severus Snape. And then, when Harry turned 10, they had lots of sex. Welcome to the Harry Potter section. And now you know the story behind the 500 anal tears. Well, that will be all for tonight, everyone. As always, you can find us on Tuesdays and Fridays from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. We will see you next time. SneakyDevil, signing off. And remember, there is always more, and it always gets worse.